Yeah, we've got the guys on the grid, and we're green and underway for race 1 for the rookies. And it's a good getaway from the pole man, it seems. And we have got, says, behind. No, it's a good getaway for the pole man, for Austin Johnson. He's managing to get way up towards the back end of the track, and he's held on to the lead of the race behind him. Looks as if Finley Polehill is still in 2nd position, so it's a good getaway. You can see the top 2 already making a breakaway from the pack.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from the front 2 guys, and really impressive that they all managed to get away cleanly. No crashes as of yet, which is really impressive for these guys. That they haven't raced for a while, if ever. So yeah, brilliant start from all of these guys.
You can see just entering the double hairpin towards the end of the lap, and it's a quick left right into the double right to end the first lap here of the AC rookies. And yeah, it's a good getaway for the pole man, and he comes across the line and leads by around about 1/10 of a second. But you can see those top 2 already with a decent at least 1.5 second gap over the chasing pack. You've got 3rd, 4th and 5th all battling it out over the final podium position, and behind the drivers just getting themselves up to speed with the circuit. Of course, very green earlier this morning.
Oh, and we have a rider down there at the 2nd chicane.
Yeah, we've got
rider up and okay.
Yeah, it seems all okay. You can see the marshals going over to them, and it's fine. But we still got the battle for lead going on, and Austin Johnson still holding off his adversary Finley Polehill in a second. You can see as they go down the back straight in towards the hairpin section, and it's all about taking a tight apex here and not giving your opponent any position to get past. And Trystan, when you've got a battle for the lead like this, and you're obviously leading the race, what's your mindset? Are you possibly just trying to take as tight an apex, close off any gaps that might open?
Yeah. The one thing is, the main thing you're thinking of, obviously, is the whoever's behind you. But also, if you can, you want to try and bridge a gap. So I'm sure our race leader will be trying to bridge that gap away from 2nd place, but also be making sure that there's no way through for Finley to come through.
Absolutely, and he's doing a stellar job at the moment, managing to hold off Finley Polehill in 2nd position. And you can see Finley seems to have a good run on him, but not quite close enough to get down towards the double right-hander in the 2nd sector, T9 and T10. And now this is where you open up the bikes for that a slightly shorter back straight compared to the adult section, but yeah, you get down into the hairpins, and you can see nice tight apex for the leader, and holding on to the lead of the race pretty nicely. Behind, you've got a battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th position, and you can see all of them just filing in nicely. Of course, we've only got a few laps left to go, so it's all about making up positions as soon as quickly you want to get into the toe, and equally find that one gap that you need to send it down the inside of your competitor. And you can see it is still a very nice job being done by race leader Austin Johnson. He's starting on pole, and he's looking to go for a flag-to-flag victory to open the 2020 season here, the AC rookies, and he's doing a magnificent job so far. But behind, Finley Polehill still doing his best. In fact, he's looking very close as they get into the 2nd sector, and he's looking at getting the move done, but not quite close enough. You can see Austin taking all the lines around the circuit that he needs to. A little wobble on the bike, but gets back on the power. Hasn't lost too much time. Slows it down very nicely indeed for the hairpin. Oh, but you can see there's contact between the two, and in fact
it looks like there's a problem there for Austin Johnson. I think something happened there with his bike which forced Finley to go into the back of him.
You can see
he's just trying to get his bike started again now, but it doesn't look like they're having any luck. So that's your race leader out of this race.
But it is Finley Polehill that manages to take the lead after that unfortunate incident for Austin Johnson. Seemed to lose power on the bike, and that's going to cost him so much time. But it is Finley Polehill that's now got a mammoth lead over the chasing pack, and he can drive this one home as long as all goes well for him, it looks as though he'll be picking up the first win of the season. Just a few laps left to go in the race, so it's all about maintaining consistency. He knows now that the one person that he was chasing is now gone. He can just take it easy, perhaps be a little bit calmer into some of these corners. He's not going to have to push as much, because you can see there's a huge gap between first and second position. Absolute disaster for Austin Johnson. You can see really upset on the outside of the circuit. Nothing he can do about it, unfortunately. It's just one of those things, as he there has to watch Finley disappear off into the distance, and it is Finley Polehill that leads the race, and doing a great job of just extending that lead lap after lap, and he's really going flat out. You can see, although he's got this comfortable lead at the front, he's just launching it into T1 and T2. He wants to pick up the fastest lap of the race. He was doing a stellar job holding onto Austin, and you can see he was just looking for that one opportunity, and when it came, he was lucky, in fact, Trystan, because it almost looked like the two came into contact in the entry to the second hairpin. Yeah,
it got very close. To be honest, it looked like he was trying to get past Austin. At one point, he was getting very close up behind him, and I think that's what caused the contact. Austin just had a little problem, and then Finley had nowhere to go. But a decent outcome for Finley. He's now leading the race by a good way, and we're seeing a good battle for third brewing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, the battle's still going on for third, as you say, but it is all about getting the moves done as soon as possible. Time will be running out, and the drivers will be well aware of that. And yeah, welcome and good morning to everyone in the paddock this morning. Hopefully you're enjoying this beautiful sunny day here in the southeast of England. Expecting to be a very warm day, and we are streaming live on FAB-Racing.co.uk, of course live on motorsport.radio and on the FAB-Racing YouTube and Facebook channels. So if you're watching us from around the world, thank you for joining us, and hopefully you enjoy a fantastic day of racing. And we'll be bringing you, like I said, an absolute bumper-packed amount of racing this Saturday till morning and afternoon. 24 races throughout the day, 48 over the weekend, as we complete round 1 and round 2 here in Lydd before, well, I'm sure even after today these riders are going to need a break before tomorrow, because yeah, it's pretty intense, isn't it, Trystan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all these riders are going to have at least three races today, some of them competing in more than one class, so definitely a very tough day for these guys, especially in the heat.
As we can see, Finley Polehill coming across the line, and it is been a fantastic race for him. And starting from second on the grid, you can see into turn 1 and turn 2, he's done an absolutely magnificent job. You can see, look at the gap that he's got between first and second, just driving away from the rest of the field. And that's a real shame that we lost Austin from the race, because those two were starting to shape up for what was going to be a pretty tasty final few lap battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those two were nip and tuck together, and I think we would have seen a very nice last lap scrap between those two for the win. So it's definitely a shame that we've lost Austin, but lucky for Finley.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's Finley Polehill in the lead of the race. He's got an 11-second gap over second place Brian Johnson. Harrison Day up in third position, with Freddie Bridewell doing well in fourth. Lewis Hull has made it up into fifth. Travis Shaw is in sixth. Chloe Sewell doing very nicely in seventh place. She's made up a few places. Ollie O'Gorman is in 8th, with Zach Benegar in 9th, Oliver Hall down in 10th. Unfortunately, Austin Johnson is a couple of laps down after that issue that dropped him out of the lead of the race. As you say, Finley Polehill crosses the line, takes the win here for the AC rookies in race 1, and it's going to be about AC40 rookies, and he picks up the victory, the first one of the weekend, first one of the season here in 2020, and does it in absolute style. almost 12 and a half seconds ahead of the rest of the field. A best lap of 1:02.393, almost 2 seconds faster than anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from Finley. Not only was he able to be quicker than the field, but he was able to do it consistently. You see, even on his final lap, he was still a good second quicker than anyone else. So brilliant stuff. We saw how much confidence he had going through the first few bends. So yeah, brilliant stuff from Finley, and your top three. Freddie Bridewell doing really well in fourth there, his first ever race. So brilliant to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it is Finley Finley Polehill that takes the victory.
So some interesting racing we're going to see from these guys.
Yeah.
Second race of the day for these guys as well. So yeah, it will be very interesting to see what these guys can do. All these guys obviously have graduated through the AC40 Pro class. They've all done. They've all been deemed, or rather, they all will be looking to be deemed good enough to graduate to the AC40 Pros. So very much young riders looking to start off their racing careers and make their way into that pro class.
Yeah, absolutely. And race 1 was won by the 199 Finley Polehill, and he made use, unfortunately, of Austin Johnson. What seemed like a bike issue for him. There was contact between the two as Finley tried to get the move done into the infield, but he managed to stay on the bike and come home and pick up the victory. Freddie Bridewell started off pretty positively early on. Of course, it's a rider that people will know the name of in the paddock. So tell us more about, of course, Tommy Bridewell and his relationship to Freddie.
Yeah, absolutely. Freddie is Tommy's nephew. We know Tommy's a big name in the paddock. Had a very strong season last year on the Oxford Products Ducati. So it's interesting to see a familiar name. I believe it's his first race weekend this year, but I think now the race is underway. We have no warm-up laps for this race, so we're straight underway and racing for this race. So a good start for the front guys, all nice and clean through the first sector.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a good start there, and you can see everyone filtering into position nicely. No contact in the early stages of this one, which is what's always good to see, and hopefully we'll be able to see once again another clean race. And Austin Johnson, I'm sure, after that round 1 issue, will be hoping to make amends if he can make it. And equally, Finley Polehill will be looking at making it a second win on the day. So we're underway and green, and it is Austin Johnson leading this one, and he will be, as I say, making up some lost time after losing a whole heap of points in race 1. Finley Polehill still in second place, but he'll be, I'm sure, closing in on Austin Johnson. But in fact, Byron Johnson has just moved up into second place there, so Finley Polehill down into third. Freddie Bridewell now up into fourth place.
Yeah, brilliant start from all these lads. Byron Johnson making his way up into second place, very impressive from him. Third on the grid. Finley Polehill we saw very strong earlier on today, taking the first win, and I believe Finley Polehill is now down. He's crashed out at the top of the circuit now, so that's your race 1 winner out of this race. Although he's rejoining now, and he looks as if he's going to be determined to try and make his way back up through the field. Yeah, really unfortunate there for Finley Polehill. Just seemed to get a little bit wide on the entry to the long hairpin, get onto the rubber and the dirt on the exit, and you could see it was almost like a slow motion, just sliding off. And luckily the bike's still running, was able to get back on. He can get back in the race, but well outside of the top 3 now. So a disaster from Finley, but that promotes a couple of drivers up. So we'll see as they come across the line who is where Finley has unfortunately dropped down to that instance. So that promotes Byron Johnson into second, of course, and then you've got Freddie Bridewell now up into third. Harrison Day is in fourth. Oliver Hall up into fifth. Lewis Hull is in sixth, and Finley, unfortunately, down now into seventh place. Yeah, very unfortunate scenes for Finley. I mean, would have been happy to take up 25 points earlier on today, but now that is not a good start to his second race of the day. But yeah, good news for Austin Johnson. He's doing well at the front of this race. A nice 2.5 second gap now over Byron Johnson, and Freddie Bridewell looking strong to pick up his first podium. Yeah, absolutely. And you were saying Austin Johnson looking strong with that almost 2.5 second lead. So it's a fantastic start from him, and he will be looking at making amends from earlier on, picking up some more decent points. And we saw earlier on that him and Finley Polehill were battling pretty closely for the majority of that race. So it seems maybe that issue earlier on has spurred him on and given him an extra gear. Yeah, very possibly. I mean, you just saw him there. Like you said, he ran slightly wide, tucked the front. It's something these guys are going to have to learn. It does happen in racing. It's a very easy mistake to make, and unfortunately, Finley's learnt it the hard way today.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're in a position like that, you're a young rider, you make a mistake. Obviously, you're not as... it's the emotions, of course, you get very frustrated with yourself. So for these guys and these riders, it's all about kind of getting yourself, just cooling yourself down. You think it's a mistake. And like you say, it's very easy to make, and just getting back into the race, because you need to be picking up points every race.
Absolutely. It's a very important thing to learn, even later on in the career. It can be a very difficult thing to do to, when you've had some sort of setback like that, to then just keep focused on the race. But it's something they're going to have to learn if they want to make their way into professional racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see behind, the battle is still going on between a number of drivers, but across the line, I believe, does come Austin Johnson, and he has got a pretty sizable lead at the moment. So, comes across the line. We'll see what the gap is between himself and Byron Johnson. It's 5 seconds, so he's really starting to stretch his legs now. Behind, Freddie Bridewell still in third. Harrison Day is in fourth. Oliver Hull in fifth. Lewis Hull in sixth. In fact, no, across the line, Finley Polhill, a double overtake there, so now up into fifth place. So, Finley, after that mistake earlier, that fall, he's back on track, and that's a much better run from him, picking up some better points so far. And it's a quite a big gap between himself and Harrison Day in fourth now. So, I think after a fall, you've got to be happy with perhaps coming home in fifth.
Absolutely, he's doing a brilliant job to recover. He dropped down to seventh spot, and he's already recovered up to fifth. 4 laps to go in this one. There's quite a bit of a gap to Harrison Day, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to close that down. But I think fifth place will do well for his championship, to just finish and score some points. Brilliant job from Finley.
Yeah, absolutely. 3.5 laps left to go in this one. It's Austin Johnson leading, and in fact he's got a fastest lap of a second faster than anyone else. In fact, it's Freddie Bridewell that's a second down on him. So Austin just driving away. He's now got a 6.6 second lead at the front. Harrison Day, in fact, moves past Freddie Bridewell for third position, so knocks Freddie off of the podium. So the two riders going at each other, and it looks as though on circuit he's slightly slowing, so Freddie possibly falling down a little bit.
It looks like he's struggling there. We're just looking at him now on the white bike. He's just looking like he's falling back from podium contention. Not sure if he's perhaps a little bit tired under this heat or has got some sort of problems there. But Harrison Day pulling right away from Freddie Bridewell. Yeah,
absolutely. So frustration for Freddie after potentially picking up a podium position, but it is Harrison Day now up into third place, and we'll see if Freddie starts to fall through the field anymore, if Finley Polhill can make up a position. I'm sure there's still quite a big gap between the pair, but we'll see if that closes down. We've got 2 laps left to go in the second race of the season for AC40s. So,
having a look further back through the field there, this is the battle for 6th place between Oliver Hall and Lewis Hull. A battle that's hotting up very nicely as they come into the first set of corners. Brilliant job from these guys to be able to bring out their racecraft. Was constantly learning, always learning for these guys, and brilliant stuff from them.
So I think when you've got into a position like this, Trystan, and of course laps are coming down, we've only got 1.5 laps left to go, is it a do or die move, or are you happy picking up the consolidating points?
Well, I think where in the case of on screen at the moment with Oliver Hall, I think Oliver's just going to want to have to be studying Lewis Hull in front of him, and absolutely just trying to see where he's weak, trying to see where he's strong, and figuring out where's the best place to overtake. These guys definitely need to keep a cool head in, but now we are just starting the last lap for these guys. Austin Johnson still with the lead, a nice hefty lead over Byron Johnson, and Freddie Bridewell now back up into third place. So brilliant stuff from Freddie to regain that lead. Whatever problems he was facing earlier on, he's definitely seems to have been fixed.
Yep, and however, it is Austin Johnson that is got an absolutely mammoth lead, over 10 seconds, and he's coming across the line, and Well, he's and it's just been he's coming across, coming into the infield, and he's just been absolutely sublime in race 2. He's just driven away from the field. He's been a second faster than anyone else in this one, and he comes into the final 2 corners. And Austin Johnson is picking up an absolutely magnificent win, race 2 here for the AC40 rookies, and what a win from Johnson. And that is a real statement there, picking up a victory by 11 seconds across the line.
Yeah, absolutely. He's stamped his authority there. Fastest lap of the race by some way as well, 102.8. It's good, over a second faster than anyone else on circuit. So absolutely brilliant ride there from Austin Johnson. Freddie Bridewell then takes his first podium ever. Brilliant stuff to see. Perhaps another fast Bridewell coming through into the world of racing. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's a name to look out for. But Austin Johnson is definitely going to put his name up there for a championship push this season. If he performs like that over the rest of the year season, it's that is a dominant victory, and that shows just how strong he's been here at Lydd, and was leading early on until that engine issue. But as you say, we've got Byron Johnson in second. Quite a quiet race for him. He managed to hold off Freddie Bridewell at the end. So Freddie, fantastic job, as you say, debut podium here in FAB-Racing. But it is Austin Johnson that takes the race win ahead of Byron Johnson in second place by a huge 11.5 second gap. Freddie Bridewell back in third with Harrison Day in fourth. Finley Polehill, after that fall, recovers to fifth. So well done to Finley, recovering some positions. Oliver Hall in sixth. Travis Shaw made it up into seventh. Chloe Sewell doing a good job in eighth place. Ollie O'Gorman in ninth, and Lewis Hull rounds out the top 10 very shortly.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're looking to the flag again now, ready for this restart of the AC40 rookie class. They're all away, they're all kicking the bikes off, and it is Finley who's taken the lead. Finley Polehill has taken advantage of this restart and is looking much better off in the second running start of this race. But it looks like now he's lost a position back to Austin Johnson, the number 27.
Yeah, Austin Johnson, after being beaten off the line, managed to get a much better exit on the exit of turn 2, and gets back up into the lead this one. So Finley Polehill will look to reset and go back at him, but Austin Johnson once again leading, like we saw in race 1 before he had that issue with the bike, and of course in race 2 where he just drove away and left the rest of the field in his dust. So he is now in the lead of this one once again. Finley Polehill going with him, and behind everyone else, seemingly getting around the first lap safely.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like to be a two-rider battle at the front now. Austin Johnson is pulling out a bit of a lead, and having seen his performance in the last race, you'd have to think that he's the favourite going into this race. As we just see the number 101 of Chloe Sewell has just had some sort of problems there, but she's back and running. Still seems like she's got some sort of technical issues going on there. She's running relatively slowly. But it is still Austin Johnson who's eking out a lead here. 1.1 seconds over the line already, one lap down, and he's already got over a second lead. So be a very tall ask for anyone to go and catch Austin Johnson. In fourth spot, we've spoke about him earlier, is Freddie Bridewell, nephew of Tommy Bridewell. So yeah, a familiar name there in his first weekend of racing, as are many of these lads. So definitely a name to look out for, as is of course Austin Johnson.
Yep, absolutely so. And Austin Johnson once again starting to extend that lead like we saw in race 2. So we'll see if he can build on it once again, as you've got the pack bunched up somewhat. You can see the battle going on. I believe that's between is that P5 and P6 between Harrison Day and Oliver Hall currently, but you can see Austin Johnson now is now cleared. We've got a bit of lap traffic, I believe, or is that a change of position between Byron Johnson and Finley Polehill? No, that's still, I believe it's still Finley in second place at the moment. So we've still got fourth and fifth, and that is Freddie Bridewell, and he's fending off Harrison Day for fourth place at the moment. So Freddie, after that good race in race 2 where he picked up a debut podium, he's in fourth, looking forward, but falling back a little bit from the pack, but in fact, he's just closed in on this lap, and he's almost got a great move up the inside there into the hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant there. He just he stuck his bike right where it needed to be, took the line away from him, and yeah, absolutely sat him up, but all clean and fair, and yeah, brilliant move.
Yep, so that passes Byron Johnson into third, so Freddie Bridewell takes a current provisional podium place. So yeah, great overtake from him just later on the brakes, and as you say, nice and clean up the inside, and yeah, really nice move there from Freddie. Up ahead we've still got Austin Johnson leading, and he's still trying to gap Finley Polehill in second. He's not streaking his way as much as we thought he would with after his result in race 2, but still a relatively comfortable race lead.
Yeah, he'll be fairly comfortable with that, provided he can work his way through the back markers nicely, which he has done. He can keep that lead nice and consistent. All he needs to do is match Polehill's pace, and that distance will stay the same. So not a great deal of pressure on Johnson, but I'm sure he will be keeping an eye on that gap.
Absolutely, and you see that fantastic move there for Freddie Bridewell into third position, and those two trading positions between himself and Byron Johnson in fourth. But yeah, the battle will continue between those guys and Harrison Day, who's still in the fight, and we'll be looking at eyeing up a podium finish. We've got 4 laps left to go, and so plenty of racing left here in the third and final race of the day for the AC rookies.
Oh, and we have a rider down. That is Freddie Bridewell, who's gone down. Terrible end, the number 18. It was looking good for a podium, but unfortunately crashes out of this race. But he's back up and trying to recover from that crash.
And we saw earlier in race 2 Freddie Polehill doing the same thing, and I think it was almost the same corner towards the back of the circuit. These guys just making slight mistakes, but as we said, it's all part of racing. The good thing for Freddie is he's back on the bike and he's back underway. Unfortunately may have lost that podium place so far, but he is still in the race, and that effectively is the most important thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He'll still pick up some points from that. I believe he's rejoined in around 5th place, somewhere around there. So he'll still pick up some good points for the championship. But the man at front to be looking at is Austin Johnson at number 27. He's absolutely run away with this one. Kept it a consistent sort of 1.5 second lead, and he's just keeping that lead there over Finley Polehill in second place.
Yep, and they are slowly catching Chloe Sewell, who is circulating a little bit further up ahead. So with just a couple of laps left to go, I imagine they'll catch her towards the hairpin section. So we'll see if that holds Austin up a little bit, and that allows Finley to close in. They're approaching Chloe now. We'll see if she gets out the way. It's but it is Austin Johnson that has, you can see it's being, Finley really being caught out here by the traffic, and that's going to have really helped out race leader Austin Johnson stretch that lead. So he comes across the line, starts the penultimate lap of this one, race 3 of the AC40 rookie class, and Austin Johnson looking likely to pick up his second victory of the day.
And that's 2 seconds now that he's stretched that lead out to. I don't think that back marker helped Finley Polehill at all, unfortunately. Hindered Polehill but helped Johnson, so I think Johnson's looking very, very confident to take this race win.
Yep, so it is Austin Johnson that's looking very, very strong indeed. He is taking Finley Polehill, who will be, I'm sure, much more relieved after that fall in race 2 to pick up another podium to add to his victory that he took in race 1 earlier this morning, and he manages to hold on to the back, and but it is Austin Johnson who's now coming on to the last lap of the race here for the AC40 rookies, and he'll be pretty happy. 2 wins, and his pace was strong in race 1, so he's got to take that to heart going into tomorrow's round 2.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be dead happy with that. But yeah, and something to consider for tomorrow. All these lads will be thinking through what they can change for tomorrow, and how they can improve, and how they can match the pace of Austin Johnson, as we have about half a lap to go now. Looking at the bright orange bike there of Finley Polehill, just making his way through the back end of this circuit. 2.3 seconds is the gap now from Johnson to Polehill, so probably a little bit too much for him to ask, going onto the back straight for the final time of asking.
Yep, and so it's looking as though Austin Johnson might pick this one up, and he's really deserved it, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Austin Johnson's done an incredible job as he heads into the final sector here, and he's looking good to pick up another 25 points. That's 2 race wins for Austin Johnson. An unfortunate DNF in the first race, but it will be Austin Johnson that takes the win here for the AC40 rookies, and Finley Polehill who takes second place. Waiting to see who takes that third spot. It looks like it's going to be Byron Johnson, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, an incredible job from Austin there. You can just see him there, looks dead relaxed, looks dead happy with his performance today, and a name to look out for the future for definite.
Yeah, absolutely so. But it is Austin Johnson that takes a second win of the day in the AC40 rookie class, and does a stellar job of it, and controlled it from the front after retaking the lead after being jumped off the line by Finley Polehill. But yep, Austin Johnson making it a successful afternoon and takes home the points for the race win. And you can see there's your top 10. It is Austin Johnson taking the win ahead of Finley Polehill. Third place went to Harrison Day. Byron Johnson in fourth with Freddie Bridewell. In fifth was Oliver Hall. And in sixth, Travis Shaw. Good start from him. It gets up in a couple of positions. Then in seventh position, you've got Travis Shaw in seventh. In eighth is Ollie O'Gorman. Ninth position goes to Zach Penagar, and Chloe Sewell unfortunately drops down to 10th after seemingly looking like she may have had an issue with the bike.